AOA podcast. Look at this Monday, back for another episode. It's so great to see all you beautiful people here in the live chat already. Absolutely love seeing that. Don't love seeing the topics on this episode. We're talking about the Diddler again. By the way, quickest I've ever seen a name change happen. I mean, I know I've heard the Diddler before the arrest from the other day, but we went from Diddy to Sean to Puffy to the Diddler. Everybody is calling him the Diddler. It's appropriate. It's fitting. It's crazy how quickly we've gone from rumblings about Diddy, clips about Diddy to, oh my God, look at what Diddy did now. And the amount of clips and articles and stories that filed in to the AOA podcast over the weekend is crazy. It's alarming. It's unsettling. And we're going to share it all with you on this episode because we have a lot of bad things that Diddy did. A lot of people coming forward, a lot of people expressing concerns, and we're here to share it all with you. We've got it all coming up on this episode. Plus, in a twist that I didn't expect to see coming, how about RFK might be innocent in this whole text messaging fiasco that's going on with that reporter that did the piece on him? Turns out she might have been harassing him. That's the latest twist and turn in that little tale of a story that's going on there. She might have been sending him all the stuff, being like, look at me, and not it going the other way around. At least that's what one source is saying. We'll share that with you and more coming up on this episode. The Diddler. Eminem might be the best in the game as far as diss tracks go because he has a clip that I can't really play for you guys, but if you search Eminem P. Diddy, he put out one of the more brilliant lyrical twists I've ever seen in my entire life. It's in a song on his new record. I believe it's on his new record, unless he put it out separately. But it was all over my social media feeds over the weekend, talking about rapper not having a P missing. It was like he's a rapper, but the P was missing, which rapper. And then he said another line, and then he said he didn't leave out a P, did he? Question mark. So that it's pronounces P, spells out P, Diddy. Brilliant. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. Here's the thing about the P. Diddy stuff, and you can go back to previous episodes that we've done. We've talked about a lot of these things before. I feel like I need to bring some of these things back just to kind of set the table for everybody, to let everybody know like the full spectrum of what we're dealing with Diddy here. So you might catch one or two things that you've seen before that you know of. Hang tight, though, because there's going to be more stuff that you haven't recalled or haven't been told just yet. That we're going to share with you, because again, the onslaught of information that we got from over the weekend was just absolutely absurd and insane and crazy. Let's start here. And again, I got a lot of clips to share with you guys, but let's start here with a young lady who goes by the name of Adria Sherry English. She had filed a lawsuit. She was one of the people that we covered before he was arrested. Again, and the big domino here is Cassie files a lawsuit, right? Cassie's former girlfriend, who we saw in that hotel video getting thrown around like a rag doll, the poor thing. She was the one who filed that lawsuit. That's the first big domino falling in this P. Diddy suit, because rumors swirled, people whispered, things were said. Until she filed that lawsuit, all the dominoes started to fall. His house was raided. The case was built, the grand jury leading all the way up to the arrest and the indictment and where we are today, which is him in the same prison that Jeffrey Epstein was in. By the way, Puff Daddy also has his own Ghislaine Maxwell. We'll share that part of the story because we're kind of still gathering some information on her, but it's amazing how the playbook from Epstein and Diddy were almost identical. I mean, the only real difference, again, I said Epstein had more government type people involved. Oddly enough, there's a similarity there. They were both friends with Trump. They were both friends with former presidents. Obama's been photographed with Diddy. He's a celebrity, obviously. Um, Epstein had his governmental, but I think Epstein more had like more people you didn't know in the government in his circles. You know, like, yes, there's presidents and all that stuff, but I think he also had some of those second and third level people that are awfully influential to the famous people that we all know. I don't know if Diddy had that necessarily, but the other big main difference was Epstein never wanted to be a celebrity where Diddy was. Right, Diddy was out in the open, singing career, movie producer, liquor, fashion magnate, all those things. That was never really Epstein's game, but Puffy needed to be famous in order to get the power that he had. So that's really the only stark contrast between these two. Everything else seems to be pretty darn similar when it comes to how they allegedly, don't sue us, but we all know it's true. How they allegedly entrapped these young girls, these young people, a lot of young boys in the Diddy camp here that we're discovering. So tracked these young people into doing these depraved things at public gatherings. So I digress. Adria Sherry English. So she was one of the few who filed a lawsuit before he was arrested. Just before he was arrested, just before she just kind of got it in under the gun there. Diddy, of course, who has pled not guilty. It's important that we say that. But anyway, Adria was one of these young ladies who used to fly in for Diddy's Hamptons parties. She says, the things, I'm quoting here, the things that we were forced on me to do haunt me to this day. The things that we were forced... That doesn't make sense. The things that were forced on me to do haunt me to this day. I anticipate testifying in New York's federal court to help ensure Diddy is imprisoned for life, she added when speaking to the New York Post and discussing her unwanted sex at his parties with his party guests. According to a complaint that English's Miami-based attorney Ariel Mitchell Kidd filed, she began dancing at the Hamptons white parties in 2004 and 2005. Appreciate all the shares on the episode, by the way. That's the only way we spread the word on this kind of stuff. So this disgusts you, hit the share button, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Instagram, put it on your Twitter. Make sure other people are seeing it too. English, who had often danced at New York clubs such as Larry Flint's Hustler Club, said that she went back to work at the party, seemingly as a go-go dancer. And according to Mitchell Kidd, her lawyer, he said, then Mr. Combs directs her to have sex with one of the guests. That was the first time she was required to perform sex acts at a party. Sources told the Post that the sexual component would be something of a party within the party. So Frank had this great question the other day is, okay, we all know the celebrities would show up. When was the debauchery happening? Was that during the celebrity parties? Was that somewhere else? So here's a little insight into that. By 2 a.m, so these parties would start at 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. By 2 a.m, the parties would essentially thin out, and everybody who was still there was kind of with this shit. As a quote from Mitchell Kidd, the attorney. As it got later and later, people who remained were about the debaucherous activities. Describing such alleged activities, which are also listed in the lawsuit, Mitchell Kidd said, quote, my client and others engaged in sex acts. There was possibly more open drug use. It was more prevalent and nobody's trying to hide it. That's when Adria would be directed to have sex with this person, sex with that person. Then there were security guards where the bedrooms were. Then, as stated in the complaint, English claims that she had forced sexual intercourse with a guest. As to why English did it, Mitchell Kidd recalled her saying, quote, I didn't know what to do. I was kind of there by myself. Elaborating, Mitchell Kidd said she knew how powerful Mr. Combs was, so essentially she just obliged. According to a hip-hop insider who asked not to be named to the Post and expressed concern even though Diddy is in jail awaiting his trial, this source said just obliging was what people did around Diddy. He had English under his thumb, the source said. That was his thing. There was a fear of being blackballed, and having your career ruined if you did not play with him. That was the way he operated to get what he wanted. Again, this people's desire to be close to power and influence is a common theme that we're seeing here with this Diddy stuff that we also saw in the Epstein stuff. Why'd you let your kid go to Epstein's house to work? It seemed like a good opportunity. Where did Epstein go? To the affluent areas to pick up kids? No, he went to the poor areas, to the people who needed the money, right? And they saw this as a big, huge opportunity. And then, as soon as they got in through the door, it was a compromised position they were asked to be put in. Same thing here. You have people that want to have success, fame, maybe they have talent. Perhaps they're looking for a break. We're going to share a story with you in a little bit where somebody is just looking for a break, just looking to try and make it in music business, in the fashion business, whatever it was. And they reach out to these people for an opportunity, and what happens? They ask them to do this or that, which is, not very nice. I saw a video claim, which is unsubstantiated. I'd love to share it with you, but it was involving a lot of people, and we are aware of lawsuits, and we're very careful about what we have to do. I'm probably going to share this with you at some point, but I felt the need not to at this point. But basically and essentially, it was a young lady who was flown into the Hamptons to attend one of these parties. The story was pretty similar to what you just heard from Miss Adria English. This young lady was not a dancer, but was one of these Instagram influencers. And she gets flown into the party, and she's not from this area, but she name checks a lot of places in the Hamptons that I'm aware of. So she, lands at the airport, goes out to the Hamptons. They bring her out to this one event, and essentially somebody within P. Diddy's orbit assaults her at this place. This was her claim. This is what she's alleging. And what I found interesting about her story was the rush to cover up immediately what had happened. And also, she was telling the tale. What I found interesting was her instant denial within her own self. This whole, you're so embarrassed by what has happened that you're willing to brush over it just to get yourself in a space where you tell yourself it's okay. And it was so chilling to see this young lady pouring her heart out, where some people at this place had kind of caught the act happening, and she swept it under the rug. Then she's kind of forced to go back to this hub of where this pre-Diddy party was, and it happens again. You might be thinking to yourself, why wouldn't you get out of that situation? But here's a young woman who's in a foreign place, who doesn't have any sort of friends or outlet, who again is so taken aback and embarrassed by what has just happened. For the people who know and are like, are you okay? She's just brushing it off because she does not know what else to do. And it's just like, it's so, my wife and I were at the beach a couple of weeks ago, just before the end of the summer. As I can see, we got Jay Stops here.
Oh, finally, you little fuck. Okay.
All right. So Cuddles and I were at the beach, and this little girl is just standing in front of us, and she looks nervous. And I'm looking around now, and I'm trying to see where her parents are. And she starts to cry, and then she screams, "Daddy." So now I'm looking around, like, where's Daddy? Nobody hops up. She doesn't recognize. So I get up off my chair, and I go over to her, and I say, "Are you lost?" And she says, "Yes, I can't find my dad." It's okay. Cuddles comes over, and we're like, what does he look like? What's he wearing? Who are you here with? So she tells us the whole story. But it was interesting that her immediate reaction, there was like she's a little girl, 10 years old, maybe 9, 8. Her embarrassment and her rush to just like instantly protect herself, and like, oh, it's not I lost my dad. He was here. I don't know what I did. Like this whole, like, I just got to get out of this situation right now. I could see it in the little girl. And as I was listening to this adult tell the story of what happened to her at this pre-Diddy party, I saw the same correlation. I was just like, you're so embarrassed and you think it's so easy to just get yourself out of that situation, but you were flown in from out of town. You don't have a way to get out of there. This girl did not have any, and nobody was willing. The help that was offered to her was, we'll see if we can get you like a deal or something, like a modeling contract. Not like, let's go to the authorities. But the people that were all in that orbit were like, we'll work on getting you a deal because this horrible thing happened to you. It's like jaw dropping. And this wasn't even Diddy. This is somebody in the outer circle of Diddy who was a hanger on, and not even that artist. It was the hanger on of that artist that did this horrific thing to this young woman. And hearing this story, it was like so like chilling. Like it got 15 degrees cooler in the room I was in as I was watching this young lady just confess all this stuff. And she's not the only one. I've seen 3 or 4 other confessions of people that are like, hey, now that Diddy's gone, I feel comfortable enough to come forward and tell people what happened to me. And some of those people are naming their attackers and openly accusing them. So when people say the dominoes are going to fall, they are going to fall, because people feel that now that Diddy is locked away, despite what this source just told the Post, that there's a little bit of freedom there for people to come forward and speak their minds. And we saw the same thing during Me Too, right? Didn't we? We saw the same thing during Me Too. The chips started to fall, the dominoes started to fall, and then suddenly everybody just felt this comfort in coming forward and telling people what happened to them, which is not an easy thing to do. So I give these people credit. I say people because it's both men and women, but I give these people credit as this common theme in most of these people's stories, besides there being some sort of forced sexual encounter, is drugging. Another part of this woman's story, and Janine, I never even realized this, but the amount of people that were like, don't drink those bottles, don't open those bottles. I saw one woman who was like, she went to one of the parties and they were like, it was one of those situations where it seems like there's it's really weird how you see different walks of life, all these different people from different areas and different time frames, and they're all telling the same story. Diddy would have a party in the Hamptons. People were invited, bussed in, right? Trucked in, flew in, whatever it was. And they wouldn't stay at the main house where the party was. They would be at all these ancillary locations in the day or two before, just hanging out. And there was like this calmness. So this one girl was like, we were all in the house, like drinking rosé the whole day, like kind of waiting for the party to start. She goes, and then we go to the Diddy party, and then every one of the girls there says, don't drink that stuff.
Ooh.
And she was like, well, we've been just drinking all day. What's the difference? And like, those bottles are already open. Don't drink those things.
Ooh.
That is, again, I'm not an attractive young lady. I've never been, but that has never dawned on me of don't drink that because it's already open. That would never occur to me. Like, I'm trying to think, Jay Sabs, to 49 years ago, and we used to go out clubbing in New York City. And I feel like when we ordered a bottle, it came open. Didn't it already come open, or did they open it in front of us? All the juices and everything were already open and in those pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I wonder. Now I can't remember. Well, I just went drinking this past Friday, so with bottles.
Look at you,
cool.
High flyer. What did you do that was so special?
No, I really didn't go with bottles, but I did go drinking. But I've never left a drink unattended and then drank it again. But honestly, I don't think that anyone would do that to me. I really don't. It doesn't take much.
Don't make me tell this. It doesn't take. They did it to me. I got drugged once. I told that story on the air 1,000 times.
Oh God.
I still think they were trying to. I still think they thought that my drink belonged to the attractive lady next to me. But still, I like to tell myself they were out to get me.
Yeah, no, I never feared that. I really didn't. I did it because I was like, ugh, going to get in trouble if I don't, but I never thought that anyone would do that. Really.
Yeah, would be. Yeah, I know. It's nuts. And then, I mean, I feel like we talked about this not too long ago. We started telling the story of when people were starting to figure out the whole drugging the bottles thing, they started putting it in the mixers instead of the bottles. So there was this false sense of security of like, oh, I saw them open the bottle, I'm okay. Yeah, but the orange juice and the grapefruit juice and all the others, the cranberry juice, that's where they started putting all this crap. So, I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable. Like, and the amount of people coming out and saying, again, I'm reiterating this, but saying the same stories over and over and over again.
Right.
Same playbook. It's crazy.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's really crazy.
That is crazy. Go ahead.
Here's the other uncomfortable thing. Like, I remember, like, I was on the air out here in the Hamptons when Diddy was doing the parties. Not that I ever got invited to one.
That was my next question. How close did you ever get to a party?
Never got close to a Diddy party. I've gotten close to a couple of other celebrity parties. I feel like I've been to one or two, but never anything massive that was like so hard to get into. None of that kind of stuff. Even the other guy, the guy who owns Fanatics now, or I drink there, Mike something. He does the white parties now. He's continued Diddy's tradition because Diddy moved it around too. I think when he moved out to LA, he took the parties out there.
Right.
They were here in New York for a little while, and then they were out in the Hamptons, the white parties in the summertime. But people were saying, and again, I bring this up because it's like you would know it was happening because there would just be a buzz around town, and there'd be an influx of people, like hotels and everything. You knew, like the local news reported on it. And why I bring this up is it'd be so strange because you could drive by where it was and there would be like the little News 12 truck out front, or Newsday, or somebody would be there and they'd be doing a live report, and it would be on the morning news the following Monday of like hot in the Hamptons, and there'd be a little reporter, Elisa DiStefano, she'd be there and she'd be running around with her look, because they gave all these people access for the first hour or whatever, and then they had to wrap up the cameras and get out. Right. So you never saw any of that. But it's so scary to think that this whole public facade was there while all this awful debaucherous stuff was going on. And then, and here's a clip. I'm going to start to share some clips with everybody. And people have probably seen this one. It's pretty famous. But Usher went on Howard Stern. And this is this little clip here. Usher goes on Howard Stern and describes the Diddy parties. And it's horrible.
And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year. It was curious. I got a chance to see some things. It was pretty wild.
We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
In the 90s. Do you understand what that's like? I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. It was pretty wild. There were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand.
We would fight. We would tussle. More than often, I think Puffy would say, man, you got to chill. Like, you're just a little bit too intense. You got to relax. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs? There were a lot of things I seen, and a lot of positions that I think I was put in where I had to make very, very tough decisions in my life about who I would be.
New York is a little bit too fast for me, and I spent like a year here.
What a life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
So, I mean, you hear stuff like that. And what's weird is, and I could point to a bunch of others, and I'm going to, because a lot of these interviews are resurfacing now about people asking about Puffy parties. We all just assumed that they were just like, what was the wildest thing you thought of, Jay Sabs? Like, I'm thinking people were drinking, people were sleeping with each other. That's as debaucherous as I would imagine it would be. Like maybe celebrities hooking up with one another, or there being maybe some group sex or whatever. But you just assume it's all this consensual activity. I never thought like horrible shit was happening. Did you?
Orgies. That's it.
I mean, maybe if it's if it's an orgy, or, Christine says swingers, okay, you understand. Like, that's what I'm picturing in my mind when they're saying debaucherous. I don't know if people would be so upfront to talk about this stuff if they knew people were being drugged and forced into having sex with other people.
Right.
Because I don't know if a celebrity would go back to that party if they knew that that was what's happening.
I don't know.
But at the same time,
that's all they do.
They didn't know. If you went to that party 2 or 3 times and you were talking to people, you didn't know what was going on. How come the girls were whispering not to drink this bottle and not to do this and stay away from that one, and the rest of the world didn't know that was at that party?
No, I'm saying is that they all do it, so it really doesn't matter to them. That's what I think, anyway.
Like they all swing, or they all drug people and?
Oh, they all drug people. I have no faith in anyone, so.
I have no faith in anyone. We do look at the world from 2 different pairs of glasses, don't we? You and I.
We do. You are very naive.
Yes. Yes.
I'm kidding. Ish.
No, it's not. It's fine. There have been numerous times, especially a lot lately, where Janine has said the words, "You didn't know this was happening?" to me. And I was like, no.
I
guess
yeah.
I am naive. I don't like serious things. I don't really love to partake in that kind of stuff.
No, you don't, because something that happened fairly recently, you couldn't believe that it happened. And how do I say this? I'll get in trouble. You did not like it, and I think you couldn't believe it happened, because I don't think you could believe things. Like, you just don't like when people break up, people get divorced. Like, you can't. That's so foreign for you.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
I know. It is. Why am I like this? Analyze me, Jason. Tell me what's wrong with me. Why am I broken?
Because you went to fucking Catholic school. That's why.
I think that's part of why I got so annoyed at those people who took their kids to the political rally. Because it's like,
here we go.
No, but it's like, you should keep your kids, let your children be children for as long as possible. They shouldn't have to deal with real world problems.
Like,
do you struggle with that as a parent? Like, when do you start to introduce real things? Because like my oldest now is, how old's my oldest, Jason?
9.
Thank you. And you nailed that one. And he's starting to do more things in the world, and it's like, I want to prepare him, but I don't want to scare the shit out of him.
Like masturbation?
No, not that yet. Although I am dreading that conversation. Dreading it. Dreading it. Every day I tell myself I got to read a book on that. I was like, I got to read a book on how to approach that. There's got to be some YouTube video of advice on what to do and what not to do, how to broach the topic. And I'm just terrified. I can't start the process.
I don't know. I kind of talk to my kids about, like, if they're teenagers or my age already. So
yeah, that worries me. That worries me.
I mean, I don't know. That's a tough thing. Like, I know you think it's crazy to go to a rally, and I do too, because I don't really believe in a political person as much as, like, say, Frank does. Just picking on him since he's not here to defend himself. But I don't have that strong feeling about one political, like any political person ever. So I can't see myself going to a rally, but maybe people make it that's what I was going to say the other day. People make it a family thing. And it's not about politics. It's about being there and, capturing the moment, showing off on Instagram. Really, that's what it is.
I guess so. It's just, I would have the same problem if they brought them to the DMV with them, I mean, I get you have to do these things, but it's like, bringing your kid to jury duty. Like these things, it's not fun for children.
Well, they're not allowed to be there anyway, but people do bring them to show, like the courtroom. Hey, I can't really not bring my kids, So,
Right.
did I tell you what happened with me in jury duty?
No. Are you on the Puff Daddy case?
Oh God, I wish. I had to, start calling last week, and unfortunately, my number wasn't even called to come down to the courthouse, so my time is considered served.
Oh man.
Do you know how upset I am?
They wouldn't have let you on anyway. You got that new TV show everybody's talking about
That's
where you
true.
solve the crimes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a real big bummer.
Yeah.
But I can always volunteer, so that's that.
Christine says, I agree to a point, Aunt. Was that when I said I'm broken? Was that what we were agreeing to? Because fill me in there, Christine. I don't know what we're talking about exactly. A little time had passed.
Yep.
Anyway, where were we on the? Oh, so all right. So that was the Usher footage, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen. There's this resurfaced Justin Bieber footage where he just seems completely out of it.
Oh, he's bad boy now.
There's Bieber in the middle. Look, he's like zoned out.
Here's your icon alert. It's called He's Bad Boy Now. Bad boy. Bad boy.
And that's that. Thanks to the Daily Mail on their TikTok for that footage right there, where Bieber seems like completely zoned out and what's going on. And then, I mean, I feel like everybody knows this too, that link between Bieber and Usher. Like Usher was brought in, went through the thing, the whole 9 yards. Then Usher discovers Bieber at some point, and he gets sent to Diddy camp. And there's this crazy, bizarre clip of like him, Bieber saying, or Diddy calling out Bieber, like, I'm trying to call you, you don't call me back, all this kind of, like, essentially what I used to say to girls when I was in high school, like, hey, I was calling you, you didn't call me back, is what Diddy was saying to an underage Justin Bieber, to the point where Bieber was like, I don't know, I'll give you my number. I know you were trying to get in touch with people around me. I'll give you my number, whatever. It was such a fucking awkward exchange between these two people.
Wait, was it Diddy that abused Bieber, supposedly? Or am I thinking of someone else?
Well, Bieber got sent to that Diddy flavor camp or whatever they called it, because L.A. Reid suggested that Usher go. And then when Usher discovered Bieber, I think he even said the same thing, like, you should send him to Diddy, because Diddy would just work people like crazy. But you heard in that clip there that I played, not this past one, the one before, where Usher was like, I've been here for a week. I'm here to work. And you're taking me to clubs and everything, not like in the studio working. And again, as a parent, could you imagine sending your child, no matter how talented they are, to New York City to hang out with a big mogul star on their...
That's weird.
On their own? I would have been next to them every step of the way.
Well, it's like the same thing. I'm sorry, but it started with Michael Jackson. It really did.
Yeah.
And was it Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah.
Why would you let your fucking son hang out with Michael Jackson? There's something not right with him. There was never anything really right with him. But then you go let him hang out with him, sleep over his house.
It's a crazy, weird acceptance thing that we strive for as people. I think it's like a human defect in us, where it's like, oh, my son or my daughter or whatever was chosen by this popular person or this powerful person or this wealthy person.
Yep. Oh, look at this. Mountain Tops. Didn't this happen with a Michael? That's funny. Did he say that before or after I said Michael Jackson?
This is actually at the same time. You guys both said it at the same time.
It's just, it started with him, and people thought it was okay. And wasn't there another boy involved too with that?
There was numerous, but there's an HBO doc on two guys that are like, it's heartbreaking to watch.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. the two guys, and you know what? It's just you send your son to sleep over a grown man's house. What?
Yeah.
No, no. Sorry. I know it was okay for you because you went to an old boy Catholic school, but
Maybe that's why I'm more like radar up, because I was radar up from freshman year on. I was like, it's like told like, hey, this is what you got to look out for. Don't get yourself into weird precarious situations.
yep. I mean, to tell you the truth, I haven't even gone down the Diddy wormhole yet.
It's horrible.
There's stuff that I already knew, from people who know people that I know people. But the whole thing with him and that other guy saying that he caught him having sex with a man. Do you remember that whole thing too? Like,
do I remember, Janine? There's 12 guys now who are saying that.
Yeah. So now, right. I was going to say that was what? Was that last year or is it the same year?
No, it was last year we were talking about it.
So now, right now, there's 12 new guys, which I haven't even gone there yet. But I know it's not going to be good.
Here's another guy. Do you want to hear one of those guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Then I have to go, unfortunately.
It's okay. Here's a guy. I don't even know who this is, but I caught this on TikTok and I wanted to share it with everybody. Here's a dude telling a story about a P. Diddy party.
With the whole cancellation of Diddy, I was at a party in Miami that I should not have been at, like some real black excellence shit that I was not deserving to be at, but I went with the DJ.
Yeah.
And I took ecstasy and I ended up wandering around. We're in some mansion on Star Island and I ended up walking, I guess it was his mansion. I walked in a room I shouldn't have walked into and I saw him like hooking up with a dude, basically like full spooning situation. This guy, Felix the House Cat, who's like a producer. Whatever. I then told the story on a podcast and then his people called me and were like, you need to say you were joking. Like, say you're a funny guy and like you made it up for the views. And I was like, but I did not. I saw it. And he saw me when I came in.
Were you like a little scared?
Yes. Because everyone in the room like stopped because I opened the door and was like, is this the bathroom? And everyone was like, no, this is a room where like celebrities, like male celebrities hook up. It's like some glitterati shit.
Yeah.
And then he basically had people call me and like threaten me and like tell me that if I didn't take it back and say I was joking.
And you still didn't take it back?
No.
Why?
And then I talked about it on Hot 97 and they wouldn't air it. Ebro, who does the morning show on Hot 97, and I told the story, and then afterwards he was like, I'm not going to run this interview because like Diddy's insane and he blew up Kid Cudi's car.
Yeah, see?
What do you think about that? Ebro wouldn't air the interview where he told
that means he's scared of him.
Ebro, definitely. I think everybody in New York was.
Mm-hmm.
Or is.
Is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that was in the Post story. People are like, not yet. I'm still not until he gets convicted. Because it's like if he gets convicted, I would imagine there's going to be a whole new wave of people just flooding into like, here's what happened to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we'll see. We'll see how many more come out.
Is that the fat Jewish guy? Is his name Fat Jewish? Was it him? It sounded like him, so I think it might be him. Somebody put that in the comments next to it, and more and more people are saying Diddy blew up that car, Kid Cudi's car, because his ex went and hooked up with Kid Cudi, I guess, and they blew up the car.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear all the stuff about Kim Porter?
No, I didn't hear anything about her yet.
So that's Diddy's old or his ex or whatever.
Yep.
And now there's a book that is out. It's like a 60-page book that's supposed to be like Kim Porter's last words because she mysteriously died of pneumonia.
Yeah, I know.
And now there's this diary that's being put out, but two of her friends, one of whom was implicated in the book, is saying that it's complete bullshit and that this stuff was never supposed to be released ever. Like this, that it's not even her stuff. It's a fake memoir is what they're saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fake. Okay.
Well, I don't know. So Al B. Shore is the guy's name. He's in it, and he's depicted as having sex with P. Diddy. But not just him, another one of her friends took to Instagram too and was like, if anybody thinks this is real, they're crazy. Kim would never say these things. That wasn't what she was about. it's all fake and unauthorized and blah blah blah. But the book is out there and it's like 60 pages, and people say it's filled with the most horrendous shit.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, now I'm gonna have to read that. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. You want to start down the hole somewhere? Start with Kim Porter's book.
See what you make me do,
Mm-hmm.
or see what I do for the pod. I can't even believe it.
The sacrifice you lay down.
Oh God. Yep.
Yeah, so the Kim Porter book is out there too. So I haven't read that yet. I haven't been able to bring myself to bring that, but I'm going to. Let me see here. This is from this is from Albie Shore. He writes, quote, I am writing this post to formally request an investigation into the entire group of individuals who worked at or around the residence of Miss Kimberly Porter, including the publicists who assisted drafting this book. The Night and Day singer, I guess he sang a song Night and Day, claimed that the people who worked closely with his ex-wife were also instructed to steal her computer and mobile devices, which contained her original book notes. Yeah, original notes are distinct from the fabricated bullshit and offensive pages circulating via Amazon, which depict graphic sexual acts involving me that never took place and were edited and added after Miss Porter's tragic murder. At least he said she was murdered.
Right. Ooh. See?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go.
He says that he and Porter, who died at the age of 47 in 2018 after a battle with pneumonia, they spoke right up to a few days prior to her demise, and she was in good health at the time.
Right. So that's suspicious. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Biggest is this not the biggest? I feel like this is the biggest scandal since Epstein, but this may be bigger from a standpoint of more people are going to care about this because he's a celebrity, whereas Epstein was more.
I agree.
Right.
He like Epstein wasn't really well known like to people who didn't have anything to do with the financial world. You know what I mean? Like.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Like the Epstein lore came from, oh, I knew the government was in on all this crazy stuff that people are talking about.
Right. Well, what I really hope is they start blah, blah, blah. I hope they start digging up Diddy and him killing Biggie or being responsible for his death. So I'd like to see him get in trouble for that.
You know, I think that idea, which has been around for a long time, that theory, right? I look at something like that and I go, that was that guy's closest friend. There's no way he would have his friend popped just for trying to leave. Naive, very well, maybe. And then you watch him bouncing Cassie's head off the fucking wall in the hotel and you go, oh, wait, this man has no moral compass.
Yeah, exactly. Or Tupac. Yep. Someone else said that too. Yep.
Tupac, I could believe he was behind that. I understand wholeheartedly. He was perceived as an enemy. There was a battle there. I understand that turf and territory and trying that I get. But knock it off your best friend because he wants to leave do you have a duck in your house? What's happening?
Meow. That was my kitty.
That was please a cat. There have been so many things lately that I've watched online that I go, this is Janine's act. Like people are doing your shtick now more than I've ever seen before, and it aggravates me. Like
which stick? Because I have a few.
You got a lot, but people there was a couple of like just total misdirection. Lewd like you're like a whole sweet setup, and then all of a sudden it's this crazy lewd comment, and I'm like, that's JSAP's angle. Like that's what she does. She's like, oh, look at this innocent woman, and then all of a sudden, bam, she nails you with something. And I'm starting to see all these ladies do it. There was one the other day, I can't remember what it was now. I shouldn't have even brought this up. but this woman delivered this line with such a dry, and just left it out there. I was like, I almost sent it to you, and I was like, why aren't you doing this? Like, why aren't you putting yourself on TikTok more? Because all these people now are doing your shtick.
Like, who are they? Who are they? I'll get them.
I'm going to start sending you the links now every time I come across it. Because I want to see you out there being TikTok famous. You should be the next Haktua, not Haktua.
Exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I must leave because I have a few things to take care of before bed.
Good. You duck out.
Including myself.
All right. Stop it.
There you go.
While you're doing that, I'm going to read all the celebrities that have attended his party over the years, and we can take a guess. Me and the audience can take a guess on who's the dirtiest.
Oh, Bill Clinton. Bye.
Probably. That's a safe guess. There's a photo of Diddy and J-Lo from 2000, and they're on a huge bed with all white pillows. I can't show you the photo, but if you Google J-Lo, P. Diddy, white pillows bed, it's just this huge, oversized bed with a lot of pillows on it, and it just grosses me out at this point. Like, again, back then it's like, oh, they're together, look at that, how cute, whatever. And now you're just like that. I mean, again, I have a hard time sleeping in hotel beds. I can't imagine being like, let's jump on this P. Diddy party bed and take a picture together. Like, are you fucking crazy? I would imagine getting, I feel like I would get pregnant from just jumping on that bed. Big names over the years that have been to a P. Diddy party. This is not saying that they did anything wrong, but these are some of the celebrities that ran in his circles. Kimora Lee Simmons and Russell Simmons, Matthew Broderick and Sarah Jessica Parker, Aaliyah. Leonardo DiCaprio was there a whole lot years ago. Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian, Howard Stern, Kelly Osbourne, Aretha Franklin, Martha Stewart, Tommy Lee, Pamela Anderson. Fucking Regis Philbin. I would like to think if I went to a party and Regis was there, I feel like I'm okay. And then the second Regis left, I'd feel like I have to leave. Because if this is getting too crazy for Regis now, I got to get the fuck out of here. Vera Wang, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, Nick Cannon, and others. There was a crazy piece on Ashton Kutcher. Again, all these clips are resurfacing, but he's on Hot Ones. And he was asked about his relationship with Diddy because they were quite friendly for quite some time. And Ashton Kutcher was asked about a story from one of P. Diddy's parties. And he says, quote, "I've got a lot I can't tell. So, can't tell that one either," he said, laughing with the Hot Ones host. "I'm actually cycling through them," he says, quote, "Diddy party stories. Man, that was some weird memory lane thing." Kutcher and Combs actually co-hosted one of the annual white parties in 2009 to raise awareness for Malaria No More. There's no indication that Ashton Kutcher was involved in any of the illegal activities that were going on. But again, he was a co-host of the party for one of those years. And speaking of intimidation, their relationship started when Ashton Kutcher was hosting the MTV show Punk'd. P. Diddy picked up the phone one day and called him and told him, "I'm out of bounds." He said, quote, "I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's on the table." Ashton Kutcher responded, and Diddy responded by saying, "Not me. I'm off the table." So that started a conversation that intrigued Ashton Kutcher. And then, of course, the two became fast friends. Kutcher said Combs came over to his house just before they were set to go for a run. Ashton Kutcher said, he's like, "Oh, I'll go and run with you." And about halfway through their jog, Combs confessed he was running out of gas. Kutcher claimed that while surrounded by paparazzi, Combs asked him to slow down inconspicuously so it wouldn't look like he couldn't finish the thing. Kutcher recalled as he panted he was losing it, right? He was like me right now with the wings, and the heat's starting to kick up. And then he said that Combs was so upset over his athletic performance that he decided to run the New York City Marathon the same year, which he eventually did. Dude's a determined dude, which is great in one instance, but scary in another when it talks about, getting people to come over to your party and pay them to have sex with others that they don't want to be having sex with. Jaguar Wright has spoken a bunch. Oh, you know what I do want to share with you? I want to share this video. This guy, this was super, super, super telling. Let me put this on the screen for you guys so you can see. All right, so this came across my feed. And again, this is a little bit more.
The Diddy situation is personal.
Of a tamer take. And where is it here? I don't know this guy's. Oh, Tour Show, TOURESHOW. Tour Show is the name of this. I love the glasses. Those glasses that this dude is wearing, same glasses that Andrew Dice Clay wears. Just these huge, like massive framed. The glasses are just crazy. Anyway, so this guy, Tour Show, he's done some interviews. He's in the industry. I don't know what he does exactly. I'm sorry, Tour Show. I'm sure you're wonderful. You seem like a great person. And he had a family member or a friend of the family that was struggling, trying to get a break in the business. So he had known Diddy for quite some time, and he asked Diddy if he could take on his family friend to come and get an internship with Diddy. And Diddy obliged, and he said yes. And so we'll pick it up from this point of the story. I just, in that 5 seconds, I saved you guys 1 minute and 9 seconds of your life. And we'll pick it up from there when the kid ran into some trouble with Diddy.
This is the time to do it. For about 3 months, everything went great. The internship was very exciting. And then one day it abruptly ended after Puff said to my family member, either come home with me for the night or the internship is over. He said no. At the time, all I knew was that the internship ended abruptly. I didn't find out what happened until years later. When I found out what had really happened, I was shocked. I was mortified. I was angry. I was upset on behalf of the family member that I had put into a horrible position. And I was blown away that Puff would do that to my family. Why didn't I speak out then? At the time, I didn't think that I'd be believed. I thought, I can't connect this with some larger pattern of behavior, him doing this to other people. Who knows how people will take this?
This goes back to the young lady I was telling you about before. This whole idea of solitude and loneliness. Why didn't I speak out earlier? I didn't think I would be believed. Young gentleman, right? Journalist. Maybe somebody said he was on MSNBC years ago. Robin, thank you. I'm assuming you're talking about this guy. Friend knows Diddy, reached out, asked. Bad thing happened. I mean, imagine you suggest a young person for an internship and then this horrible thing happens to them and you were just trying to help and then it goes so incredibly the other way. That's horrifying. But here's a grown, like you talk about women being put in these situations. Here's a grown man that's like, I didn't think anybody would believe me. Didn't even happen to him. Right? What's the first thing? I mean, back in the day, they used to slut shame and victim shame all the time. Well, what were you wearing? Well, why'd you put yourself in that situation? That shit happened all the time. We're past that. And here's a dude, and he's like, I didn't think anybody would believe me. That's so fucking scary. That chills me to the bone. This is one of my worst nightmares, right? I talk about this all the time, about being put in a situation and saying something and then nobody believes you. It's like that fear of like being in the horror movie and you think you're pretty sure you know who the killer is. And as soon as you go to say something, everybody in the town thinks you're the fucking crazy person, you know? And meanwhile, the other one is just slowly stalking around, killing people one by one. And you're like, nobody's going to fucking believe me if I say anything. This is crazy. That's this guy. This guy lived this. And the hurt in his voice when he's like, I couldn't believe Puffy would do that to me. Like this idea of, I've interviewed this guy. I've treated him well. He's treated me well. Hey, can you do me a favor? Yeah, sure. No problem. And then all of a sudden you're going to proposition this young person. I think it was a nephew or a friend, whatever. I think it was a guy. I mean, the bluntness, like I say this all the time. We said this a lot during the Epstein thing, right? How could you be so brazen? How could you be so out in the open with it? And this is it. This is the answer. Because who's going to believe these individual people? This desire in him to be like, I can't match this to other previous behavior. Therefore, I feel like nobody would believe me. And what happens when you do that time and time and time? There could be 1,000 people out there going through the same thing you are, but because everybody's so afraid to speak out, the truth never comes to light. And now, as we're seeing over the weekend, all the people coming forward about their Puff Daddy experience, there's a lot of people out there. And they were all out there 3 weeks ago. They were all around 3 months ago and 3 years ago, and nobody said anything. And it's crazy. And when you think about it, but when you hear these people speak firsthand and why they didn't say anything, it's hard to disagree with them. We all want to think we would be the person to break it all down. We would be the one who would be fearless, right? We all want to think that. I want to think that about myself right now. But when you hear these people talk like this and you're like, nobody's going to believe me. How are you going to get the word out? This is going to be squashed right away. Like you're going to be looked at as a crazy person out for money, trying to take somebody down, all those things. And the embarrassment of coming forward and being like, I suggested this person, or like the young lady before, I got on a plane and went to New York without anybody I know, not knowing anybody there, not having a way to get back home. It sounds so stupid when you're looking at it in hindsight, but when you're a young 22-year-old, who's trying to get an influencer career, model career off the ground, you're looking for any break that you can get. And you're telling yourself and convincing yourself along the way, this is fine. Right? How many times have we said that in our lives? This is fine. This is fine. Nothing to be concerned with. Right? It'll be fine. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. Don't let people worry about you. Just, it'll be fine. This will be fine. We say that to ourselves all the time in a lot less serious situations than this, in a lot less serious situations than this. Mountaintops. It's more embarrassing for it to be a person's real life story and then be questioned about it if it's really real. Right. And this happens to this guy. Again, he's in the media. This guy's in the media. He can go to people. Have you heard anything? This is what happened. This is my experience. Suggested a family friend. All of a sudden he got propositioned. Did you hear that? He was too afraid to say anything. And because Diddy's a celebrity, everybody's going to say the same thing. Why? What are you, money grubber? You trying to get some money out of this? You trying to get some clout, out of this? It's nuts. These are some of the most serious things I've seen. People have been coming out of the woodwork so much. I saw a guy who was friends with Diddy's kid go, I got invited over to the house once when Diddy's kid wasn't even there. And I thought that was strange. And then he talked about one time where he got invited to the house and thought he was going to the bathroom, and he opened the door to like a sex room and still went back to the house afterwards. Like, there's so many signs to just get the fuck out of a place, but we ignore it. We ignore it for opportunity. We ignore it to be around power. We ignore it for what it could possibly do to us one day. We ignore it for the fact that it validates our feelings. I mean, if you're a parent, think about this, when the teacher says, oh, your son, your daughter did good in school today. How great do you feel? That's the highest high I can get right now. Doesn't matter any booze or gummy or whatever, doesn't make me feel anywhere near as good as when a teacher that in my kid's school goes, oh, so-and-so did really good today. And you're like, oh, I feel like I could walk on a fucking cloud. at the end of the day, it's kind of ridiculous. They're just an asshole, just like I am, putting their pants on one leg at a time, drinking coffee, taking a shit in the morning. Then they're off to their job that they don't like. And then so-and-so does a halfway decent job today. So they send you a message. Hey, your kid did okay. Your kid wasn't a total fuck up today. And then you're like, holy shit, my kid's the greatest kid ever. Imagine that times a million. Imagine that coming from a person who's made it, who brought himself up from nothing into superstardom, picks your kid, your nephew, your niece, your sister, your whatever out of the crowd and was like, this person. That's an unbelievable feeling to fight against. That's a really unbelievable feeling to fight against. I had a Jaguar story too, but basically she's just like Jay-Z's next. Oh, let me give you this Neo video. Here's another one, another video that has resurfaced. Viral Footage 9. I don't know where they're coming up with these names these days, but Viral Footage 9 put this on TikTok. And I guess it was Neo's wife or significant other challenging him. Here, take a listen to this.
Tell him about the freak off, Diddy Jr. Diddy Jr., tell him about the freak off. Tell him about the freak off. Tell them the truth. Tell these people the truth. Oh, shut the fuck up. You don't give a fuck about none of these kids. Do y'all see a fucking picture in his house of a fucking kid? He don't care about these kids. All he care about is doing drugs, drinking alcohol, fucking these hoes. That's what you care about. So let's go. I'm a Diddy bop the fuck up out of here. You and your freak off. You can get back to your freak off in a minute. You'll be next. You'll be next. You'll be next. You'll be next. Your stories will be coming out next. He gonna say my daughter crying.
There was a lot there,
You and your
wasn't
freak
there?
off. You can
The Neighborhood Talk, Live Bites, Viral Footage 9. I'm not sure who to credit. Seems like one of those things where it's been taken and stolen 1,000 different times, but Neo's baby mama calling him Diddy Jr., I guess because she was upset about him possibly being at one of the freak-offs. Like I said, it is coming. It is coming from every single. This podcast has never gotten so much mail than we got after Friday's show. And we've been doing Diddy coverage since he was arrested. We were on the air doing the show when he got arrested. What was that, last Monday? And slowly over time, it kind of built up of like, here's a message, there's a message. Over the weekend, it was just like, I spent like 4 hours just going through material that people were sending over. And not just like, oh, I saw this on TikTok, but like, hey, this is my neighbor. Something happened to her. You got to hear this. Like that kind of shit. Which is crazy scary. Because on the one hand, I feel like, yeah, it's great to get that stuff out. And on the other hand, I feel like, bring this to the authorities, not some fucking podcast. I appreciate it. We want to help as much as we can. Media can be powerful at times. But let's take this over to the FBI where it belongs. Not necessarily, the AOA show. I'm trying to see if I have anything else on Diddy because there's just so. By the way, and I'm holding back. I'm holding back like 1,000 things, just because stuff I just can't. We can't possibly do it all in one episode, or I can't do it all together in one shot. It's fucking too much. It really, really is too much. And he's still gonna have to face all these other, like the case against Adria England. He's still gonna have to stand trial for this stuff. Like he's got a whirlwind of trouble coming. One of the lawyers that I spoke with over the weekend was like, it is a foregone conclusion that Diddy is going to jail. The question is, for how long? They're like, the evidence is so, in the indictment, the evidence is so clearly pointed out there, and all they have to do is show some of these things in the court, and he's toast. He's done. You'll never see that man walk free again. And there's essentially nothing. I mean, I don't know if any kind of crazy loophole can save him. And especially when you start to see the people coming out of the woodworks, you're like, oof, I mean, there's no way he can survive this, NYC Baby Boomer says, Sloan Bella predicted all this BF. They rated Diddy. Oh, before they rated Diddy. Thank you. That took me a while to get BF was before. Yeah, well, how about shout out Cat Williams? Cat Williams, who was on whatchamacallit's podcast there, was like 2024 is the year they're all going to fall. And boy, was he right. Now, it's not the most bold prediction. The Cassie lawsuit had already come out. However, we've seen a lot of these things bubble up to the surface and never really come to fruition. So give him credit that he was like, hey, this is the year it's all going to go down, and it's going down. But believe it or not, like, we are just at the beginning of it. It's just still the beginning of all of this. Oh, P. Diddy was on what was this, Entertainment Tonight, Access Hollywood? He was on one of those shows. And here it is. Yeah, this is another little interesting tidbit. E.T. So P. Diddy was doing an interview on Entertainment Tonight back in 1999. I guess they were giving him a little bit of a hard time getting permits for the parties that he was throwing. And so he says in this clip on E.T. in 1999, quote, they won't even give me a permit for the parties, and they don't want me to throw the parties no more. The parties are the hottest ticket around, but we ain't going to stop. We're going to keep having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're going to hear about my parties. They're going to be shutting them down. They're going to probably arrest me doing all types of crazy things just because we want to have a good time. That was words directly out of P. Diddy's mouth from 1999. He said it. And then going back to just how creepy and bizarre the whole thing was, where they would have these satellite houses and places where people would stay, that they would traffic them in for the party. The Daily Mail found a clip from one of the parties, which are kind of hard to come by because never really, I mean, they were searched a lot of the time. You couldn't have cell phones in the parties and things like that. But I guess a couple of people got some stuff through. And this is P. Diddy from the balcony of one of his parties, where he talks about sending the kids to bed. So children were attending these parties before the debauchery happened, and one would hope that that was true. I mean, there's a lot of underage allegations at these parties, but that there would be like full families there with children. And he, in this clip, as you'll see here, like tells them, hey, it's time to go off to bed. Like the real party is going to start, is essentially like what he says. Again, this is the Daily Mail found this resurfaced clip from P. Diddy at one of his white parties from years and years ago. This is on the Daily Mail TikTok.
Kids have like an hour left. So get extra comfortable, kids, because after that, y'all gotta go. It's a wrap for y'all, because this thing turns into something that when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come to. Okay? So, let's just start to get our groove on a little bit. In an hour, we put the kids away. It's all good. Hey, DJ, let's hit it. Let's do it.
So he talks about we got to get comfortable, have a good time, dance around, because in an hour, all the kids got to go away. One of the people that I saw who said that they were involved in one of these parties said that there were children in the house. Like there would be little kids and nannies and shit, like upstairs in one of the rooms, watching them, putting them to bed while all this crazy stuff was happening in a downstairs or other part of the house. Could you fucking imagine? Could you imagine, like, oh, we don't have a babysitter. Let's just bring, it's just easier to bring the kid to the crazy drug-fueled orgy, and they'll sleep upstairs while we do our, that's the idea that this is going on the same planet that it's so fucking foreign to me. And every time Janine calls me naive, it just makes more sense, because I just can't fathom some of this stuff is going on. It just doesn't make any sense to me. That's the latest. That is it. We just did an hour and 8 minutes on what a piece of shit P. Diddy is. I mean, and we could do 8 hours more. I mean, I'm holding back material and information because I just know that there's going to be much more in the coming days. There's just going to be so much more. So if you want to find out what exactly this guy did, subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you share this episode. Spread the word. We're talking about it. Straight talk. No bullshit. No whatever. If it's interesting, we're going to discuss it on the air here. So again, make sure you're subscribed. If you can, become a member. I think what are we, like $1.99 or $2.99 is our lowest membership form that helps us put the podcast on. You get some exclusive material. It's always great to join and become a member. We love our members. They keep the whole podcast afloat. Membership link is in the description of this episode. No matter where you're watching or listening from, you can click that link right now. And like I said, for $2.99, boom, you're in supporting the podcast. Look at this, Mr. 30-month member. Robin here has been a member for 30 months. I think I saw Bird, also a 30-month member. Kudos to Fly NY and Lindarella for both gifting a membership. That means the next person or the next two people to join the memberships on the house, courtesy of Lindarella and Fly NY. So generous of the both of you. Fly NY, I know this is not the first time you've done this. You're like 2 or 3 in of sponsoring a membership. So again, click that membership link fast because you can get one on the house, courtesy of Fly NY and Lindarella for being so generous. Appreciate all you guys, all the members. Become a member. It's the way to go. Like I said, keeps the podcast afloat so we can keep talking about this stuff without we can do things and talk about stuff, go places that mainstream media can't. And we also have a bit of responsibility to it where we are going to talk about something that hasn't been officially confirmed. We'll let you know, but it's not going to be inane blabber that you do catch on some of these regular TikTok and Instagram pages where people are just saying batshit crazy stuff with nothing to back it up with, with absolutely nothing to back it up with. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So it assigns memberships immediately. Oh, okay. Because I see the YouTube told me whoever joins up next. I wonder if that's because Miss Justice was up for renewal or it just pops it in there. I'm not sure. Somebody's gonna have to let me know. I appreciate that heads up, Bird. Because the way YouTube explained it to me, which is why we went with YouTube and not Facebook or any of the other ones that do these kinds of things, was that whoever joins next just gets it on the house. But if it is random, yeah, then I don't really know how it works. But anyway, Bird, Robin, you're amongst good people here, so join up, become a member. Like I said, you can do it for as low as $2.99, and it helps us just pay for all the stuff that we have to do in order to keep the podcast on the air here. Finally, the RFK texts. I didn't see this come one, mostly because anytime there's been an absurd and nut bar story about RFK, he's usually at the center of the absurdity and the nut barness. Like, he's batshit crazy with his fucking brain worms and his eating the bears and Platinum in Central Park and all. And self-admittedly so, he's been, doing all these things and coming out and talking about it. Well, we had the story a couple of days ago. This Olivia Newsy, she did the piece on him, and there were some text messages that went around, and they're talking about she was put on a leave and all this crazy stuff was going on. And I was surmising that there's got to be an affair here. Like, they got to be doing something. And I'm not saying that there's not an affair here, but the story today takes a really interesting turn. That mutual friends that actually helped put the two of these people together, Newsy, who was a journalist, and Kennedy, obviously, was running for president. They put them together at Newsy's request because she wanted to do a piece on him. And then Jessica Reed Krause, who is the person who put them together, she basically came out today and was like, actually, she was here's the quote. She was bombarding him with increasingly pornographic photos and videos while tricking him into unblocking her numbers. This, according to Jessica Reed Krause, the 31-year-old who knows both Kennedy and Newsy. Kennedy has hired a security expert to look into this. Gavin DeBecker, who said of the sordid saga so far, this had nothing to do with romance. He was being chased by porn. Newsy was placed on leave last week. That's what set off all these alarms. Everybody put it together that She was put on leave because of inappropriate behavior with an interview subject. Like I said, quickly, everybody just knew that it was RFK Jr. Krause wrote on her House in Habit Substack. A few weeks later, Newsy emailed him asking to be unblocked after he had originally blocked her, claiming she had urgent information about a hit piece being prepared against RFK. Krause alleges that he unblocked her for that conversation, but later that night she sent him a provocative picture, prompting him to block her again. For the next 8 months, Krause claims, Kennedy kept the Washington correspondent's number blocked, aside from a handful of times when she reached out from different emails and numbers, insisting that they speak for urgent discussions about an imminent hit piece. Once unblocked, Krause alleges, she bombarded him with increasingly pornographic photos and videos that he found difficult to resist. After brief exchanges, he would block her again. Other friends Krause said she spoke to believe Newsy allegedly set him up. News outlets have reached out to Newsy without hearing back from her immediately. Krause, for her part, said she had unexpectedly formed a friendship with Newsy late last year over their mutual coverage of Kennedy, but she became suspicious after the reporter started inundating her with personal questions about him. She said, quote, Olivia would ask me the most intimate questions about him and his relationships with his staff and his wife after each campaign stop, who he was seen talking to, what his mood was like, and whether he showed any signs of flirtation. There was an undercut of fascination that went beyond journalistic intrigue. Her constant desire for updates, coupled with the tone of her inquiries, made it clear she wasn't merely reporting, she was weaving some kind of fantasy. Meanwhile, a source close to the Kennedy camp had earlier told the New York Post that Newsy had become obsessed with the ex-candidate after interviewing him at his home in California and pursued him via text to the point where he repeatedly had to block her. The source said, quote, she went after him aggressively. She targeted him hard. Bobby was blocking her continually. It was a little scary. She was obsessed with him. I think she still is. So I don't really know what to make of this, because at the one point, it's clear that she's dealing with some issues here. And then on the other hand, if you listen to that point that I read earlier from Krause, she was like, he found it, what did I say here? He found it difficult to resist. So you did partake a little bit. Did he send some things back? Like, what did he say? What happened there? What was done? Clearly, she's the aggressor here, which I guess takes him off the hook a little bit, like with his wife, maybe. But if there was, something there, that's still unnerving and very unsettling. Like, I think if you're being pursued that way, you have to, like, if RFK is getting those text messages and he's just like, here, honey, this is the craziness I'm dealing with. Like, that's how you have to be in a relationship. You got to be like, here you go. I'm being open with you. Here's my phone. Take a look. Like, this woman's crazy. She's just sending me all this stuff. You got to be open about this stuff. You start answering back and engaging with it without telling your partner, you're heading towards Divorceville there, my friends. Especially after you just aligned with your wife's political enemy, which is not a great look for our. Again, I can't imagine what it's been like being in that household together. That must be cold. So still lots to uncover here. But again, the twist in this story is it was her who pursued RFK, which is crazy to me because he just looks like a dried out old zit. Am I alone by this? I just feel like, when you got one of those like skin tags that's hitting, it's just a little too much. I feel like if a skin tag grew into a person, it'd be RFK Jr. I guess that's a little sacrilege. I know like the Kennedys are all gorgeous people, but he just looks not so to me. He's in shape. Don't get me wrong. He's in shape. I guess he looked wonderful back in the day. He's just kind of an old, weird guy. He's got that voice. I can't listen to him for more than 5 seconds. I know that's not his fault. I know he has a condition. I know this is insensitive. I know I should apologize. I can't. Let's be honest. Thank you, Paul. Look, he's gross in that voice. Thank you. Who could honestly sit and listen to that man? He could be the answer to all our problems politically, and I would still pass because I'd be like, I can't do it. I can't. I would be like, I will vote for you for president if you agree to just shut the fuck up and never say anything. If you can agree to that, if you can agree that you could run this country via text message and never give another speech again, I will vote for you if you're the answer. If not, I got to pass because I just can't sit there and listen to that person over and over again. I want to give him a lozenge. It's all very uncomfortable for me. I wish I was a better person. I'm not. But that's the truth. We want somebody in our president that we can hang out with, and he is very hard to listen to. Thank you, Christina. He is very hard to listen to. I feel like we get him one of those things that who is the guy in the wheelchair with the thing, and he had the voice thing. He used to type, the smart ass guy, the scientist guy. We get him one of those things where he types away on a computer, or he just looks at the screen eventually, and then boom, we get a little computer voice going, welcome everybody to the White House, and it's a nice voice that we could all deal with, and not that choppy thing where it feels like your radio antenna is broken and you're like, oh, I love that song, but you can't hear it because it keeps fading in and out. Hawkins, thank you. What was his name? I have Taylor Hawkins in my head. That's the drummer for the Foo Fighters. Another person we lost, and then all of a sudden Dave Grohl went to shit. Remember when Taylor Hawkins was alive and we had a great Dave Grohl? Now all of a sudden we have a cheating piece of shit Dave Grohl. Stephen Hawkins, thank you. Thank you, Stephen Hawkins. Couldn't remember that. Who's the better Hawkins, Taylor or Stephen? Stephen came up with a bunch of shit. Although wasn't he didn't he cheat on his wife too? It's amazing. I don't understand. RFK is getting sent text messages. Fucking Stephen Hawking, is cheating on his wife in the chair after she takes care of him all the time. I don't understand these people. Dave Grohl stepping out on his wife doesn't make sense to me. Can't you just bang the person you committed yourself to? Is that so difficult? It feels like it shouldn't be, as hard as it's become. Anyway, I don't see the appeal in RFK Jr. I'd be curious, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are into that, if you love this man, if you think he's hot or attractive, I'd have to check with J Sabs. He does have gray hair. It makes me think he'd be on J Sabs' list. She likes old, crazy men. The crazier and the older, the better. So maybe she would put him high on the list of attractiveness. I don't know, but he fucking irritates the shit out of me. I can't listen to him whatsoever. I'd rather listen to Hillary Clinton than Robert Kennedy Jr. And that says a lot because fucking Hillary's tough to deal with too. She is tough to listen to. I love all these crazy emojis we got going on here now. Look at all these things. Purple dude, an orange dude. So a green dude earlier. This guy. I'm thanks to everybody for the laughter. I appreciate that. Well, I can't tell if you're laughing at me or the live chat because the live chat's fucking hilarious right now. Oh, see, I like this from NYC Baby Boomer. I like my Latino men. I like people that have a type. I have a type. I have a Marissa Tomei. If you look at Cuddles, she's fucking Marissa Tomei. Down to the accent, the attitude, the fact that you could get slapped in the face at in any moment for no reason. That's what I like. And I'm obsessed with why. I can't figure out why. Imagine having to listen to RFK's State of the Union address. I'd jump off the top of the Capitol building. I couldn't do it. I could not find. I'd be sitting there the whole time going, can't we fix this with AI? I mean, I'd like him to talk the way he talks, but can't we filter it? And I heard a whole fucking Beatles song pulled off of a shitty tape thanks to AI. How could we not fix RFK's voice and how we're hearing it? You know what I'm saying? I understand it sucks in the room, but when it goes over the airwaves, can't we run it through that crazy AI generator that made John Lennon sound like he always does off of a shitty cassette tape? Because I heard the original cassette tape, it sounded like garbage. And then I heard the thing that the Beatles released, and I'm like, this is a whole fucking recording. They found his little voice and all that gook, pulled it right out, and made it sound wonderful. How do we not have that for RFK? Seems like we should have that. Who's the Lord of the Rings guy? He's the one who put that together. I forget his name. Jackson? Who directed Lord of the Rings? That motherfucker is one smart dude. He fucking was like, I'm gonna get AI. I'm gonna fix John Lennon's voice. All I want to do is listen to the Beatles. Lovely Rita Mita maid. There's not a month that goes by that I don't just fucking lock into the Beatles for like 2 days straight. I can't help it. Peter Jackson. Yeah. Peter Jackson. Guy never met a barber once in his life, but boy, can he fucking run that AI and fix some audio. I'd love to get him on there. Fucking fixing some RFK sound, you know, and then throw in some CGI shit. Wouldn't it be great to tune into the State of the Union address and there's some fucking hobbits jumping around the back of the president? We'd all be paying attention. We'd all tune in to see what was going on, you know. We'd all be like, is he going to get the third ring by the end of the State of the Union? I don't know. I just don't know how it all works. All right, I've clearly run out of material, folks. That's the end of this episode. Appreciate you as always. Jay Sabs was great to have along. Frankie C apologizes for not making this episode. He should be joining us midweek. And of course, for all the amazing comments during the live chat the whole way through, I am appreciative for all the shares and the likes to help us trick the algorithm into thinking we have a really good podcast to share with everybody. That I'm also grateful for. Thank you guys for all of that as well. Keep sharing, keep liking, keep those things going. Again, we need all those algorithm points that we could possibly get. I just fixed the thing and now I broke it again. Can you believe it? Oh my God.
Mom's a dumb bitch.
I feel like a dumb bitch. I do. I feel like a dumb bitch.
Fuck you, Hunter.
All right, we'll just run through the gamut of our sound effects.
Go ahead.
And we'll wave goodbye.
Show me potato salad.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next episode.
Maybe we should go now.